it's about time we reviewed Bishop, which I'll be honest right away. Bishop is my biggest surprise out of this box. There's a lot of things I kind of expected to go in this box, and I thought Bishop was going to be a hero I would not care about at all. I thought he'd be kind of like a weird throwaway hero because his mechanic is a little maybe simple on the surface, but there's a lot of depth there, and there's a lot of depth in how he works. So, quick spoiler alert for my own video. I like Bishop a lot. I think Bishop is a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of his cards. We're going to talk a bit about them, how I've been using them, how I've been liking them, and then do some final thoughts at the end. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Bishop, what you like, what you don't like, whatever it may be. And then while you're down there, make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn notifications. It really helps with this channel. We've been growing a lot recently, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool, but all that stuff really helps the channel. So let's go over Bishop's cards and talk a bit about them. All right, so we're going to start with his alter ego side, go to the hero, then we'll go into the cards. So Lucas Bishop has 4 recovery, 6 hand size, 12 hit points. His ability is temporarily displaced. Response: after you change this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. Now, we've seen cards like War Machine on the road side, right, his alter ego side, that as long as you're there, you can take a card from your discard pile and put it into your deck, not your hand. I think it's your deck. And there is no errata on it. You can't just do it over and over, but you could do it once per turn, right? So you could do it when you first flip down, and then do it, and then your next turn starts, you could do it again. So essentially you could do it twice on one flip down. They've stopped it here where it's only when you first turn to the alter ego side, which is a good way of doing it because you are putting it directly into your hand. We'll get into it later. That's resource cards are temporal, so if you need a resource card, it's like really easy to pull it, which is kind of nice. So it's definitely a good, smart way to do this. The only other thing we need to comment on this is in the running for the worst art in the game. It's terrible. It's terrible art. All right, so Bishop on his hero side is a 2/2/1 stat line. Drops down to 5 hand size, still has 12 hit points. Energy Absorption is a response after Bishop takes any amount of damage from an attack. Discard an equal number of cards from the top of your deck. Add each resource card discarded this way to your hand. So when the preview videos came out, and all the preview articles, it was pretty much assumed that, you run with a lot of resource cards, right? 7, 8, 9 resource cards. You discard cards, and if you can add more to your hand to play cards, it works out really well in your favor. Now, this, to me, in the beginning, seemed very straightforward in how you play. Okay, you load up on resources, you load up on some expensive cards, and hope you play or whatever. And until we started seeing more cards out of him, we couldn't really get a good feel for it. I know some people were really excited by that prospect. I thought it would get old and stale really fast. I was wrong. And one quick note I'll mention before I forget is this is a response. It's not a forced response. So if you don't want to discard cards, you do not have to. I've seen people kind of have questions about it, I guess. Do I have to do this because I'm about to deck out? You don't have to do it. It's just a regular response, not a forced response. So this mechanic is pretty straightforward and simple, and it's in practice. When it actually is being used, it's actually kind of a cool way that it works. I think it works pretty well. And it leads to some interesting decisions that we'll see kind of with later cards. Now, he does have 2 signature allies, which is really neat. I've kind of liked that they started doing this. I don't want them to do it all the time, but I like it now and again. So Malcolm is a 3-cost ally, 1, 2, 3 stat line. X-Men is also temporal, so when we talk about getting a temporal card, you can get your allies back out there. Discard a resource card from your hand, ready Malcolm. If that card had a printed fist/strength resource icon, heal 1 damage from Malcolm, which is really nice, right? So if you get that printed resource on there, being able to heal him up, ready him up and heal him is really strong. I like that if you get your allies out there, because the same thing happens with Randall here. If you get your allies out there and you're quote unquote stuck with resources, you could still use them, right? That was my biggest fear, is how much could you really use them? You do want to lean into your signature allies. They are very strong. You don't need to necessarily build them out and Voltron them all the way, but maybe like a little bit of support for them will help them out a decent amount. All right, so then we have Randall, who's kind of like the inverse of Malcolm, right? 3, 2, 1, 3 stat line. Discard a resource card from your hand to ready Randall. If it had a printed energy resource, you heal 1 damage from Randall, right? Same exact idea, except Malcolm's 1, 2, 1 thwart, 2 attack. Randall's 2, 1. And that's the only difference. So it's nice to get both of these allies out, both these allies out there. They're both strong. They're both good for what they do. And being able to ready and heal them up is really, really nice. Bishop's Rifle is a good card. 2-cost upgrade. Restricted. Exhaust Bishop's Rifle. Choose an enemy. Deal 1 damage to an enemy. For each resource card in your hand, this attack gains range. The range thing is huge, so you don't get retaliate, right? Range gets around retaliate. Again, if you had this card already out there and you end up with a hand size of 5 or 6 with all resources, you're exhausting this to do 5 or 6 damage, which is crazy, right? And so this card is always being used before you actually kind of start your turn. The only time that this can be bad, and I use bad very lightly here, is if you're trying to hit into a tough enemy and you can't play a different card first because it would lower the Bishop's Rifle. So you have to like exhaust yourself to like ping the tough off or whatever. That's the only thing that like kind of stinks. That situation I ran into that situation a few times, but it's not like makes this a bad card or anything like that. It's just like the thing you have to look out for, right? Is there are times, especially nowadays, there's a lot of enemies with tough now. If this runs straight into a tough, it feels bad, man. You know what I mean? So you have to either exhaust or you do have to spend a resource to play a very weak kind of event to get the tough off. So anyway, good card, but that part can stink at times, but it's a very, very strong card. Then Bishop's Uniform, 2-cost upgrade. After you resolve Bishop's energy absorption ability, exhaust Bishop's Uniform to heal 1 damage from Bishop for each resource card in your hand. This is a broken card. Okay, it's not broken. This is a very good card. Bishop gets insanely strong with these 2 cards, right? His rifle and his uniform. They are, if you get them, you should be playing them 100% of the time. There's no reason not to play them unless like you are literally on your final push at the very end of the game. You draw the, where is it? Here we go. The energy absorption, right? This is when you discard cards because you just got hit. So you literally had just gotten attacked, right? Let's say you took 3 damage. Okay, so you're down to 9 life, whatever it may be. And you got 3 resources either in your hand or you already had 3 or whatever it may be. And then you just heal it all back. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. And then when the start of your turn is, you exhaust it and then you deal 3 damage with this card, right? The combination of these 2 cards is mind-blowingly good. It does make Bishop feel a little overpowered when you have both of them running. When you don't have them, he feels a bit weaker. It's a really kind of weird feeling because he's not a weak hero. He just feels so much weaker because I'm used to just getting hit in the face and not caring when I have this card, right? When this card's on the table, I don't worry about chomp blockers. I don't worry about myself exhausting the block. Why bother? I'll just get hit in the face and heal back up. That's my life strategy at that point. And if you don't have this card, it makes you feel like you're really weak, even though you're not, right? 12 hit points is still a lot of hit points. You can add an endurance on to get up to 15, right? There's so many options that you could do that it's just like it feels weird. It's hard to explain until you actually like really go through it. So anyway, these 2 cards are the cards that you should be going for 100% of the time, beginning or mid stage of the game. You can make the argument at the very end of the game that you don't need these cards because you're making a final push, which I get. But besides that situation, right, these cards are bonkers strong, really, really good. Highly recommend these cards to get it right away. And I really like the design space of these cards because there are times where I do this and I have no resources that are drawn from it. And it's just like, man, that stinks. Like I was really hoping to heal back. So it's not like it's like a broken, that's why I don't want to say it's a broken card because it's not truly broken. There are times I'm just like, man, that didn't work out at all the way that I want. But it seems to work out like a lot of the time. Now, Supercharge is a 0-cost upgrade. There's 2 of them. Yeah, there's 2 of them. It's a superpower card. It's a free upgrade card. Discard a resource card from your hand. Place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. When you make a basic attack and discard this card, you get +2 attack for this attack for each charge counter discard here to a maximum of 8 attack. Now, that is, what would that be? 4 charges, right? Because 4 times 2, yeah, is 8. Now, really quick side note, we're still trying to get clarification on this because there is a disagreement. If you have 2 supercharges out there, can each one be a maximum? And then thus, you would be able to use both of them to do 16 plus damage? Or is the +8 in combination of the 2? We haven't gotten clarification on that, so we're waiting for rules clarity on that. And I know a lot of people ask about that, so we don't know yet. Right now, I've been playing that you can only do a maximum of 8 because the maximum of 16 just seems a little too bonkers to me. And it feels like there's a way that they would just nerf that or whatever. So I've been personally just restricting myself. That's not necessarily the right way to play. It's just how I've been playing because I think that's the ruling that they're going to make. Even though I personally think that it should be 8 for each card based on how the card reads, but you can read it both ways. Anyway, just wanted to mention that. This is a good card in the sense that, like, again, when we talked about when you have resource cards in your hands and you don't know what to do with, just throw them away. Throw them away into this card. It works out really well. And this is what's so nice about his design, is that Caleb really thought this through, right? It was well done, well executed. That, okay, if I end up with a resource hand, yeah, it's not going to be great. But if I have one of these 2 supercharged cards out, it becomes a lot more manageable, right? Does it make him very powerful? Yes, it makes him very powerful. But if your goal as a game designer is for people not to feel bad during playing the hero, then they've nailed it. Now, naturally, that's going to make heroes feel stronger over time. As we've seen, more and more heroes have gotten more and more powerful over time, or at least what I've seen. So yes, people will say this skews the power level for heroes and makes them kind of like a bit stronger, maybe too strong because it's a little too easy to do this stuff. I get that argument 100%. But if you're looking to play a hero and you just want to have fun and you want to enjoy the hero, it's a good card. This is a good card. Okay, Concussive Blast, 3-cost event. Deals 6 damage to an enemy. If you pay for this event with a resource card, ready at Bishop, this is pretty good, right? Because now you can exhaust for 2 damage on Bishop, right? Because it has 2 attack. If you do it with Supercharge, it's a whole different math equation that we're not going to get into. Then it gets you up to like basically 3 for 8 damage, right? Because you did the 2 from there, 6 on the here is 8 damage, and then you get the ready at Bishop, so it's like you never exhausted. The only time this works out against you, again, is with Retaliate or something like that. But I've used this card as a way to like thwart 2, attack for 6, and then be able to thwart another 2. Because essentially I'm being able to thwart 4 instead of just like a casual 2. And that has a lot of value for me personally, especially as a solo player. Very good card, very strong. Anything that lets you ready up is solid. So there's 2 of that. Command Authority, it's a 2-cost event. Remove 3 threat from the scheme. If you pay for this card, or you pay for this event with a resource card, draw 1 card. Card draw is always nice. Pretty solid card. I used it quite a fair amount. 2 for 3 is a little bit weak on the threat removal, but the fact that you get to draw a card does kind of like even it out a bit. 2 of those. Energy Conversion. When an enemy attacks, shuffle each resource card in your discard pile into your deck, and you cannot take more than 3 damage from this attack. This is a very strong card because there are times when, if you're like me, you drew all of your resource cards in the very beginning of the game and there's none left. Well, now I just purposely, again, take the hit to the face, especially if I'm going to heal up anyway from, where is it? Oh, here we go. From the uniform, right? And I have a deck of like 6 cards left, let's say, and there's 9 resources. And then I can shuffle them all back in, and I get hit for 3, so I'm going to discard 3. Let's say I discard all resources. I can now heal the 3 with the uniform, right? You can already see like how this like combination plays. So strong. It's so strong. Now, again, the biggest thing is you have to like build out his engine just a little bit. It's not much of a build out, but it's enough. And then when, like we said, you had 6 cards left, you had 9 resources. Well, now I'm going to dump all those extra resources into Supercharge. So it works out well. Anyway, Energy Conversion, good card. It works good. Like it works really, really well and really strong. All right, so then we have Stored Energy. We have 3 of them. They're all energy and fists. Yeah, they all are energy fists. Double energy, really strong, really nice to have. It lets you pay for some of your more expensive cards, which is nice. That's kind of one of the biggest things that I've been doing with Bishop personally, is I will run more expensive decks with like higher cost allies or higher cost events, because he's going to have so many doubles in his hand that you might as well go for it. Now, I generally for these reviews don't talk about these cards as much. There's a lot to talk about with them, and I think I'm going to do kind of an aspect overview eventually down the road. I don't know if I'm going to do it right away or when we review the whole box eventually. I don't know. We'll decide how we do that later. But one of the things I do want to talk about is the Sidekick card. I don't really run Sidekick with Cable, or not Cable. I'm sorry, I just saw Cable with Bishop. I actually like Bishop and Justice and Aggression the most, especially Aggression, because you can really kind of go at your enemies pretty hard with Aggression and solo, and he's so good at thwarting in general and being able to ready up or whatever else that like doesn't matter, right? And you're not flipping down because you're healing all the time, so it's really strong. I really like him in Aggression, but in Justice I naturally play. I just want to talk about this for a second because I am not the biggest leadership fan. It's probably my least favorite and least played aspect for quite some time. It's not that I'm against it. It's just it got boring because I was basically doing ally swarms over and over. This has kind of changed the game a little bit and made it at least a little more exciting, right? And I'm really happy with the design space that they've done here with the Sidekick. So it's a 1-cost upgrade attached to identity specific ally you control. It's identity specific. It's not any ally, right? So it's got to be identity specific. They get +2 hit points and is your Sidekick. So after you make a basic recovery, you heal 2 damage from the attached ally, which is really nice. Now, really quick, with SidebySide and Suit Up, these are 2 cards that are kind of make this whole thing really work. SidebySide is really strong. 2 cost event, ready your Sidekick, ready your hero, which is already good. And then choose one. You can heal 1 damage to both characters, or both characters get +1/+1 to the end of the phase. I usually end up healing, because healing, I don't want to flip down solo, so it's always really strong to heal. Suit Up, you're basically using it once unless your Sidekick gets knocked out. But search your deck and discard pile for an ally and an upgrade that can be attached to that ally, right? So if you pull Sidekick, if you want to pull Sidekick, you have to pull your ally. I've made this rules mistake several times in the beginning. You have to pull your signature ally, right? It can't be like Sidekick and like a random ally, because the attachment has to work for that ally. Now, you don't have to use Sidekick, right? You could just pick any ally that can have a attachment on it that works, and you could do this card too. So it's not like a dead card in your hand, but as a solo player, I'm basically using it once to get Sidekick and my hero or my signature ally, and then I'm using this as resources later on. So maybe it's inefficient, but don't really care. But anyway, I just want to say I'm really, really happy with the design space that they've done with this. I think it's really cool. I now play leadership a bit more. I don't want to play it too much and like make Sidekick annoying and boring, but I do like the design space. I'm really kind of happy with it. So big shout out to them for doing that. So, all right, let's talk a bit about how I've been playing Bishop and my overall thoughts of him. All right, I know I just told you that we're going to do my overall thoughts and whatnot, but I forgot to go through his obligation and his minion. So we'll get to that in a second. But really quick, his obligation, once it loads, is Fear the Future. You may flip to Alter Ego, choose to exhaust Lucas Bishop to remove Fear the Future from the game, and the other option is discard this card and each resource card from your hand. If no resource cards are discarded this way, this card gains Surge. It's very weak. This is very weak because when I flip down, for those that remember, where is it? To Alter Ego, after you change the form, add a temporal card from your discard pile to your hand. If there's a resource card or something like that you can add to your hand, it's really good. It's really strong. It's really fine. So it's not really the worst thing in the world. Then you can flip back up. So yeah, I mean, exhausting is fine. Right? It's all fine. It's not a bad obligation at all. So it's whatever. Trevor Fitzroy is a 2/3/5 stat line quick strike, which can always be annoying, especially with 3 attack. After he attacks and defeats an ally, if Portal Through Time is in play, place 2 threat on it. Otherwise, find it and reveal it. This Portal Through Time thing is going to keep popping up with these cards, and it's really annoying. Like, I mean, that's the point of it, right? Is to be annoying, but it's really annoying. Anyway, so him is not bad, but after like, if you use an ally as a chump blocker, which again for Bishop you're probably not going to as much, it is annoying that you would keep revealing this card. So what does this card do? It comes with 4 threat, adds extra threat onto the main scheme. When a temporal card is revealed, it gains Surge. Luckily, it's limit once per phase, which I might have missed my first time or two playing or getting this card. This is really annoying, right? Surging is bad. It feels bad. I hate it. And the fact that it does this every time a temporal card is revealed kind of stinks. Now, is it like all the time? No, it's not too bad. But you do want to clear this out pretty fast, but you can't clear it out too fast because first you need to clear out Trevor so that you don't keep having to thwart 4 off of here. And then these other minions kind of mess you up too. So we have Batman. I know it says Bantam, but it's definitely Batman. Look at him. 2/2/3 stat line. When revealed, if Portal Through Time is in play, place 2 threat on it, which is really annoying. Otherwise, you find it and reveal it. Cool. And then, Temporal Trickery. Okay. Discard a card in your hand with the most printed resource icons. Place 1 threat on each scheme for each resource icon on that card. Generally speaking, it'll only be 2. But it can be a lot more. Again, adding threat onto schemes is really frustrating, really annoying. And then you have the other one that does the same exact thing, right? So it's those 2 cards. They're all temporal cards. Yeah, they're all temporal cards. So again, it would cause this card to surge. So I guess really only 2 cards put this into play, but it feels like I get one of those 2 cards every single time. Now let's go talk about my final thoughts. So I've alluded to this a little bit that I actually don't really care for Bishop in leadership. Not that he's bad in it. He's totally fine. I think any hero, generally speaking, works in leadership. But I just enjoy him most in aggression. I think aggression makes a lot of sense for Bishop, especially as a solo player. if you're playing multiplayer, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. Maybe not protection is what I would not run him in, but I'm not a great protection player. But as far as solo goes, I like aggression a lot. I like justice, works fine. Leadership is fine. I don't like the sidekick for him because he's so strong in general. I'm focusing so much on his kit that I'm not really worried about what Malcolm or Randall are doing. Like Malcolm and Randall are just kind of there to support Bishop and not the other way around, even if they're sidekicked. So I don't really like that strategy of doing things. As a leadership deck, it's fine if you did other things like ally swarms and stuff, but still I want Bishop taking hits because I want to get those resource cards out there so I can get supercharged, and then I can swing for like 10 damage basically, which is crazy strong. It's a great way to make your final push in solo, right? Get the supercharged cards out there, do crazy amounts of damage. So that's how I've been playing him. Overall, I like Bishop more than I thought I was. I thought Bishop was going to be very straightforward and basic and kind of repetitive. And because you can make this work in aggression, because you can make this work in justice or leadership or protection, right? And they all have their different things they're doing with their resource cards. There's some cool things you can do, right? There's some fun play in there. There's some fun things you can mess around with. And it's been just an enjoyable time. I like that he feels strong, but not overly strong until he gets his rifle and his uniform. Once you get those two things out there, he feels like top tier. But before that, he doesn't feel top tier. And this balance has been really nice, right? I'm really happy with what they have kind of done with this, what Caleb's done with this, because there are times where other heroes have come out and putting them down on the table, they already feel brokenly strong, right? They feel way too powerful. They feel way too strong. And it kind of ruins some of the fun. I don't mind a hero like Ironheart that you build out to become really strong. Now, with that being said, Ironheart has become a more boring hero because I'm racing to phase 3 or stage 3, whatever it is, right? Does that kind of happen with Bishop moving forward? Maybe. I'm about 15 plays in and I've still enjoyed playing him, right? I've still enjoyed the different ways to play him. Does it slowly turn into a game where I'm rushing to get his uniform rifle out? Yeah, it does the majority of the time. Does it have to be? Probably not, but it's definitely the easiest course of action. It definitely is the one that makes the most sense. Now, there are times I've messed around with Malcolm and Randall and kind of done things with them or done more ally swarm builds, and it's a bit different. But when I see that uniform and that rifle, I'm playing those 100% of the time. I will sacrifice Malcolm and Randall for that uniform and rifle 100% of the time. So overall, do I think he'll get like quote unquote boring eventually? Maybe a little, right? Maybe a little. Because his cards are so strong and so unique and interesting in how they work, maybe. But as of right now, like I said, 15 plays in, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I still want to play him, right? I still want to play more Bishop. Recently off stream, I've been kind of running him through some of the easier scenarios because I want to see like how much he decimates those scenarios. And it's crazy. So it's been kind of fun just doing that and just being like really OP for a little bit and whatnot. So anyway, I have really enjoyed him overall. I think his kit is very well balanced. I think it's really fun. I think it's really enjoyable. Like I said, let me know down in the comments what you have thought. And do me a huge favor before you leave. Down below is a link to the Discord channel. Make sure you join the Discord. We have rules answers and questions all the time. Hopefully Supercharge will be answered at some point so we can finally get a ruling on that and all that stuff. And then also down there is the twitch.tv/D20 woodworking link if you want to join the live stream community. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll be playing Bishop soon. Who knows? Or something else, or video games. I don't know, whatever. But come join the community. It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. So anyway, thank you all, and especially thank you all to my subscribers who have already hit that button, have already subscribed to this channel. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to each and every one of you who has done that and watched these videos. It truly means a lot. And I'll see you all next time.